Okay, everyone, welcome to the LAFCO meeting of May 5th, 2022. First thing I do is like to have everybody join me in a moment of silence. We lost Carl Everans. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Next up, we need to, I need a motion to approve a proclamation for Carl Everans and a second on that, please.
Move to approve.
Second.
Is there any public comment on that? What? Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Sorry. And we have a second on that. Is there any public comment on that matter?
Second.
Nobody out there wants to speak on it, right? All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, at this time, I will turn it over to Mr. Supervisor Kimmelshoe to read it.
Well, today is it's a sad day for the LAFCO Commission. Our longtime chairperson passed away this past week, and the staff was fortunate enough or diligent enough to put together a resolution, and I will read it. This is a resolution of commendation. Whereas Carl Everans was first appointed to serve on the Butte Local Agency Formation Commission in February 1973 as the regular public member and served continuously for the next 49 years, rarely missing a meeting. And whereas Carl was first selected by his peers to be chair of the commission in May 1975, and as a testimony to his leadership, was continuously selected chair for the next 47 years, usually by unanimous vote of the commission. And whereas Carl's service to the commission is unsurpassed in the commission's history, and he is the longest serving LAFCO commissioner in the state of California. And whereas the California Association of Local Agency Formation Commissions, Cal-LAFCO, acknowledge Butte LAFCO under Carl's tenure as chair with the following awards: 2011 Distinguished Service Award, 2013 Lifetime Achievement Award, 2015 Most Effective Commission Award, and 2019 Courage and Innovation in Local Government Award. And whereas Carl steadfastly demonstrated a commitment to the core LAFCO principles of managed, well-planned growth with protecting open space and ensuring the efficient delivery of government services. Carl always wore his independent LAFCO hat and pushed back when efforts were made to compromise these goals. And whereas Carl made an extraordinary effort to communicate with LAFCO staff and understand the issues that they were dealing with. While he did not always agree with staff, he always supported them in public meetings, encouraging greater education and training opportunities, ensuring LAFCO functions were adequately funded for maximum effectiveness. And whereas Carl had a crucial role in transitioning LAFCO offices and staff to independence and in making it an effective organization that it is today. He also was instrumental in the successful completion of such milestone events as seating of the special districts of the commission in 1978, the annexation of the historical islands of Chapman Mulberry 2015, South Oroville in 2016, and concluding with his last vote to approve the City of Chico Island Annexation Plan in April 2022. That concludes the commission's goal to annex all unincorporated islands throughout the county. And whereas Carl has exhibited a sound knowledge of planning and government services and understood the great necessity for work of LAFCO and the orderly development of this county, and worked diligently to ensure LAFCO provide a balanced voice between desirable growth and urban sprawl. And whereas Carl has discharged his commission duties with a high level of competence, preparedness, objectivity, and humor. And whereas Carl has consistently brought to the LAFCO proceedings a high standard of civility and courtesy and respect for the concerns and comments of the public. And whereas Carl brought the commission an expansive historical perspective of the many policies, practices, deliberation, decisions made by local agencies within the county that shaped local development patterns for decades. And whereas Carl will sorely be missed by all who had the opportunity to know him and work with him. And so now therefore let it be resolved that the Butte Local Agency Formation Commission recognizes and expresses its deep appreciation for the services of Carl Leverins to the citizens of Butte County and Butte LAFCO Commission. Further, that this resolution be included within the minutes of the Butte Local Agency Formation Commission, and that a copy of the said resolution be presented to the family of Carl Leverins as a testimonial of the sentiments of the Butte Local Agency Formation Commission, passed and adopted by the Butte Local Agency Formation Commission on this 5th day of May, 2022. So with that, I think the at least deserves a round of applause from our. Steve, thank you for preparing this. It's an emotional and difficult day for this commission.
If I could just add to that, it's I've only known this commission with Carl at its helm. So all 27 years of my service has been under Mr. Leverins, and I hope that many of you stay as long as you possibly can. I just want to say this to the commission, is that it's remarkable to have that person or any person for that matter who is in that position for continuity over the years. I can tell you, and Mr. Brown could also tell you, that around the state, commissions constantly turn over. Mr. Connolly knows this very well. And you don't learn this in 2 years or 4 years. As most of you know, it's a complicated process, and you've invested a lot of faith in your staff, but that comes through the chair. And I look forward to working with the next chair in the same way that I worked with Carl, because that's really what made this commission work, was that activity, that connection between the chair and its staff, which moves things along a whole lot more efficiently than other cases. So that's a great thing that we've all got to experience with Mr. Leverins. So thank you for reading it, Mr. Kimmelshue.
I'd like to say it's been a pleasure, was a pleasure to serve with Carl since he did unfortunately pass away. He always tried to go out of his way to explain to the public what LAFCO actually does. And I think he always did it in a kind manner, in a way that they weren't really taken offensive. You know, we can't do that. This is, our focus is right here. And I think we're going to miss that. He's going to be a tough one to replace. All right. Please call the roll, unless somebody else has something to say.
I just wanted to say, that Carl was generous in always bringing everybody, me being among the newest, he was generous in sharing his knowledge and bringing me along as he was able to, through the different things that, that came before us. So it was an honor and a pleasure to know Carl. Thank you.
Anyone else? Now, please call the roll.
Commissioner Bolin,
I'm here. I can't. get
Commissioner Betts,
Here.
Commissioner Kimmelshue,
Here.
Vice Chair Connolly,
Here.
Commissioner Sharman,
Here.
Commissioner Shepherd,
Here.
Commissioner McGrehan,
Here.
alternate commissioners Larry Bradley, alternate Commissioner Bruce Johnson, alternate Commissioner Deborah Lucero. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion for LAFCO chair.
I would move Bill Connolly as LAFCO chair.
Big shoes to fill. Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Is there any other nominations? Is there any other nominations? Is there any other nominations? I declare nominations closed. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay, me. No, I might be. All right, we need a vice chair. Who wants to be vice chair? Somebody volunteer. Come on, one of you wants.
Okay, I guess I will.
Is that
Is it okay to have two?
Yeah.
but you got, it's up to the commission.
I'll nominate.
I'll second it. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Nominations are now closed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? They like you, Todd. You did good. Okay, next up's our consent agenda. On it, we have approval of minutes of April and adoption of renewing resolution in support of AB 361. Would anyone like to pull anything? Is there any public comment by email on the consent agenda? Anybody from the public like to speak on the consent agenda?
I move approval.
I second.
A motion, a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say nay. And it passes unanimously. Next up, 3.1, review and consideration of final budget for fiscal year 2022-23.
Thank you, Mr. Connolly. The budget is presented to you today in its final form. You previously approved the tentative budget in April, and the subcommittee of the Commission on Budget also recommended this approval. The only change from April till today is a small increase of $1,018 under staff and legal services but that did not change the commitment or the contributions of our member agencies. So with that, unless there's questions, the budget is prepared for approval.
Any questions by commissioners? Any public comment by email or otherwise?
No, sir.
No comment? All
Mr.
right.
Chair, I move we approve.
Okay, Al, we'll give that to this Al this time, all right? Al, you got a second down here?
Second.
There we go. Any discussion? I just want to say, create budget as usual, balance. I wish everybody's pension obligation was paid off like ours. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Passes unanimously. All right, consideration.
Mr. Chair,
We need a roll call vote.
financial items like this should have a roll call vote.
Oh, okay, yeah, and plus we're on Zoom. Probably, yeah. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Boland,
Aye.
Commissioner Betts,
Aye.
Vice Chair Kimmelshoe,
Aye.
Chair Connolly,
Aye.
Commissioner Sharman,
Aye.
Commissioner Shepherd,
Aye.
Commissioner McGrehan.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
passes unanimously. You know, Mr. Brown, you just ruined my fastest meeting ever. All right. Consideration of the contractual services agreement between LAFCO and the County of Butte.
This was an item dealing with the contractual services agreement that the city or the LAFCO and the county entered into back in 2007 when we went independent. There are some changes proposed by the county. There's no action today. This was on here in case I needed to bring this forward in a rapid fashion, but we're still negotiating with the county over some cost numbers. So there's no action to take today. I will continue this to a future meeting. Unless there's any questions for me, there's nothing more on this item.
Any questions by commissioners? Any email questions? Any questions from the public? You're an alternate. You're the only public. I pick on you, Bobby. Okay, at that time, this brings up public comment on items not on the agenda. Since it is not on the agenda, we cannot take action. We can certainly listen to what you have to present. Mr. Riley? O'Reilly. Sorry.
Good morning, Commission. Bobby O'Reilly, Administrator for the El Medeo Fire Department, El Medeo Fire Protection District. I watched your last meeting and realized that this commission has not received a whole lot of information from El Medeo Fire Protection District. And for that, I apologize and our board apologizes. Information has been back and forth. There's been multiple meetings going on. However, those meetings are with individuals rather than as a group to get all the answers at one time. And therefore, any definite answers have been hard to pull out because meetings have had to be had. So for that, again, I apologize. I come today to let you know the plans as of right now, or the goal as of right now for El Medeo. And that goal is to, the board for El Modelo has voted to move forward in the opening process to get El Modelo back open full time. We have an action plan set forth to do so. Right now, we are working on a dispatch agreement for dispatch services, which is the most important must to get the department open. If we are successful in working out a dispatch agreement, then we can move forward in the obtaining employees and getting the doors back fully open. All of our equipment has been out to be tested. It has all came back passed. We are up to par on our equipment, on the PPE, on the apparatus, on the station. Everything has passed so far. And the steps moving forward that we have taken to get the doors back open. Again, the dispatch agreement is the biggest hurdle. Working on that. And if we can get that passed again, we will start getting the employees set. We are not bringing on employees other than myself at this moment until we can get a dispatch agreement set. That way we're not bringing people on and then having to right away let them go. I will say that the plan to open is was made under the discretion of how can we open these doors with guaranteed funding, with the funding that we get in from the tax rolls, from the guaranteed funding, not from one-time monies, not from grant fundings, not from fundraisers, not from anything else other than what's guaranteed to come in each and every quarter or each and every year. And that plan has moved forward. Anything on top of that will be great. We can use it for other things in the department, but the plan that is in place right now that we will be working on if we move forward is using only the guaranteed income that we have through our tax rolls and the income that we have guaranteed. With that, if we cannot get agreements done and essentially get a for sure we're opening by, I believe it's June 15th, the board has declared that at that date, if we do not have those things in place, we will not be submitting for the upcoming tax roll, and the board will be putting in a resolution for dissolution. So I will answer any questions if there is any. Other than that, I just wanted to let you guys know our plan, what we're working on, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you for the update. Any other public comment? Mayor, have anything to say?
No.
Okay. It's not sir, it's Bill, you know that. All right, executive officers report under reports and communication.
Can I ask a quick question of the executive? I know this probably is not on the agenda, but since Mr. Leveren's passing, we have an opening for the citizen, what do we call it? The citizen?
Public member.
Public members, thank you. How will that be filled? I know Mr. Betts is filling it as the alternate right now, but just I think a good explanation might help us.
Sure, no problem. What we're required to do is present and provide a notice of vacancy, so which I will do following this meeting. And then we will solicit applicants to join the commission in that position as the regular public member. We don't mix, there's no automatic ascendancy for alternates. They have to actually be selected. So Mr. Betts as an alternate will continue to serve as the regular member until we fill the seat. He is also welcome to apply for the seat. And I will send that out, and some of you've probably been around all long enough now because we've done a few of these in the last couple of years. We will ask people to fill out an application, provides a little information about themselves, why they want to be on the commission. And then ultimately I present all of that to the commission, and you will decide who you want to be your regular public member and if necessary, the alternate public member. So you can expect to see that on a future agenda for a selection for that position. Does that explain it?
Maybe a couple, 3-4 months.
At most, probably 3 months, maybe, right.
One more thought, Mr. Riley, if you could come back next month and tell us where you're at, we'd really appreciate it so that we get it firsthand. Absolutely. Thank you.
Are we moving on to item 6.1, the executive officer's report?
Yep.
Okay.
Your reports and communication.
So I did present we had made a decision, the commission, to move into these facilities as our permanent new location at a previous meeting. We did execute, you see the draft that's in your document, but I do have that executed for Mr. Legrone. So we have a contractual arrangement with the city now to use these facilities for the next 10 years.
Maybe I won't drive out to the county like I did this morning. Embarrass myself.
Hard to break instinct, Bill. So yeah, I want to thank the city
It'll be early for
your
once.
offer. Thank you. Going through these items pretty quickly, the Palermo Clean Water Project, this is just nothing but a win-win as far as I'm concerned. The county, LAFCO, South Feather, so many people have been involved in this over the years, but it's now coming to fruition. We expect that the application for this area to be annexed into South Feather will be received shortly. And we probably will have this in front of you by your August meeting for approval. Everything looks good about this. This is just, I can't give enough credit to the county for getting the grants to move this forward through the water department. Christina Buck for managing this process on her end. South Feather reached out to us early on. So I'm super appreciative of Mr. Mosley's participation, getting LAFCO involved. So this has all gone, it's taken time, as Bill well knows, but it's necessary, and we're so close now. So that's just nothing but a positive update. City of Biggs annexation plan, moving forward, they were looking at submitting an application to us for the first phase of the annexation plan. I'm not going to get into the details about that right now, but that's all moving forward. I will give credit to Mr. Shepherd and Biggs that they really focused on this plan about 2 years ago, reached out to LAFCO well in advance, worked with us at every level. And now we're going to be at the first phase of their next era of moving through a series of annexations. So thank you, Biggs, for taking the time to make sure we're included in the process. Tuscan Ridge development, there's really nothing new to add on that. Paradise options study continues to move forward. We're waiting for the next big step in that, which is the public hearing that will discuss the option study itself. That date has not been set. I will make sure the commission knows when that is. But so to date, that process continues. I expect there'll be a public hearing sometime in June, and it'll be located probably in Paradise, as well as be a Zoom presentation. We just held from El Medeo. Thank you, Mr. Riley. Town of Paradise sewer line, latest breakers news on that, as you might have read in this morning's paper. The City Council of the City of Chico reviewed the agreement, operating agreement, essentially between the town and the city. So that process moves forward. The next step is the subcommittee of the city and the county will, or I'm sorry, the two cities, the town and City of Chico, will meet next week on Monday to look at that agreement. And at that point, the town council will tentatively approve that if it's reasonable to them. And then we move forward with the actual process of submitting an application and completing the EIR and so forth. So I'll keep you appraised. We're consistently involved in that. Shannon and I have attended almost every one of those meetings, if not all of those meetings to date. That's really all I have to add with terms of projects at the Cal LAFCO level. I'm happy to say that our bill on protest proceedings continues to move forward. We just cleared a Senate vote last week on the floor of the Senate, and I don't know if it was unanimous. Bill, do you recall? It was really close if it wasn't. This has strong support. Now it moves to the Assembly. I still have every expectation that the bill will move forward. And again, this has just been a culmination of a 3 to 5 year effort to get this piece of legislation through, but it looks positive. And on one other note on Cal LAFCO and legislation, and Mr. Connolly, you're free to weigh in. We continually talk about this 56133 is the code section, but it's the extension of services outside of agency boundaries. What Cal LAFCO is, and several LAFCOs have been pushing for, ours included for much time now, is to clarify that exemptions to that law, if there are any, are to be determined by LAFCO. It's certainly implied within the code section, but it's never been challenged or tested. And at this point, we want to make sure it's clarified by adding just simple 3 little words, as determined by the commission. I mean, that's not 3, but that's all we want to add to the bill, just to make it very clear. It should be a no-brainer from my perspective. Mr. Connolly can share his perspective.
It can impact any LAFCO around the state, because if a lawyer says I have wiggle room where you can ignore LAFCO and go forward, then we have to unring the bell. And a perfect example is extension of services for water from Paradise or PID to Chico, let alone other counties have had problems with extension of water to a housing project or a reservation or whatever. And yet, because it's a hard lift, it's been difficult to convince the majority of the LAFCO commissioners this is important until it impacts them. You know what I mean? It's there, it gets used, it gets abused, but until it impacts them, they seem to think it's impossible. I'll be chair of state LAFCO next year, and I'm going to make it a priority. I think we need to get it done. It's frustrating too, because everybody kind of talks in state LAFCO level. They're all really, really intelligent and all that, but they talk in circles, right, Steve?
My gosh.
Free to speak on that.
Oh, okay. But I'm there. I always start out, I'm the dumbest guy here. I just want to give you my opinion.
Well, just interesting little, just to add to that dialogue a bit is, while we recognize it here, your staff has been very proactive over the years. As you know, we get out in front of this. We try to get people to send us their requests. I will approve a lot of them. If they're exempt, I will write them back a letter indicating that we believe it's exempt. So we have always followed that perspective here in Butte County, and well, I'll say the staff is very proactive about this. The difficulty we have is not every LAFCO has the same proactive staff or a proactive commission. So they just sit on the sidelines and watch this stuff occur and just stay out of it. And frankly, as you well know, it's hard for me to stay out of something that I think is our business. So this is a very important bill. We'll keep working on it. And but you know, we believe here that we're on top of making sure we stay ahead of all of these service extensions and make it very clear to all of our member agencies that that is the law. So that's all I want to add to that. I don't have anything additional beyond that in this report. Unless Mr. Brown has anything he would like to add or any.
I've got a quick question. You had mentioned the Tuscan Ridge development, proposed Tuscan Ridge development. What does LAFCO, what do we have to do with that?
Well, it's tough to say entirely right now what it has to do because the county's still working through the process. So I don't know what their ultimate conditions will be, but it looks like at this point, our role will be to evaluate whether the Paradise Irrigation District is capable and should be the appropriate service provider to maintain their on-site sewage treatment system and any other water treatment systems that are on site. So that would be one function. The county may also create another entity such as the county service area to manage and fund certain other maintenance facilities on the site, roads, streetlights, that kind of drainage. So I don't know what that will necessarily be right now. Our two roles that I can clearly identify is dealing with Paradise Irrigation District's extension or possible annexation of that property. And as we talked at a previous meeting, that's something the town of Paradise ultimately ought to weigh in on as well. It's a significant issue for them. And then from a perspective of just growth, it's totally appropriate for this commission just to continue to offer responses to the county as they process the project. Should you have concerns about whether or not it's growth inducing or whether the sewer lines should be accessed, and there's a lot of issues, all of which we as your staff outlined in a letter and comments back to the county. Which the commission, I think, received, if not last meeting, the meeting prior. So I will continue to provide you those updates as I know them, Mr. Kimmelshoe. I'm not aware of anything else at this point. The county's kind of just working through the project. Information, I will say, has been fairly hard to obtain. I have much more active participation with the consultants working on the project than I have with county staff to date. So that's one of the downsides of this project.
No, I think it'll be a very long and drawn out process. So
I suspect you're right.
I just was concerned at what our role would be, but our role won't take place for some time until there's zoning issues and everything taken on by the county.
That's correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I guess it is zoned for development. Is that correct?
In the county zoning right now,
Yes.
it was identified as an area for growth. Yes.
Okay. What, no, never mind. I was gonna say what density we don't know, and then we'll take it from
Yeah.
there.
There's
Okay.
Right. That's all I have, sir.
Any correspondence?
No.
We're supposed to discuss and provide direction to the executive officer on administrative matters relating to the operation of the commission.
Well, you're not supposed to, you can. But I'm all ears.
We're adjourned. See you Thursday, June 2nd, 2022. Right here, not at the county.